Peace unto you, welcome in. Peace unto you, welcome in. Today, if you stay in this course, you're going to become a Christ and recognize that though we use the word becoming, you already are that. All we're doing is guiding your awareness to realizing it. And then from that realization, you have the choice to accept it or not. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Today is all about Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness. They're all the same thing. Krishna consciousness. They're all the same thing. We're speaking on the prophecies of this Aquarius age. Ooh, let's hear about the Aquarius age. So a lot is happening in this new generation, people. And it's in alignment with the world, politics, everything. It's all merging into this one moment where all of your spirit teams or aspects of yourself, in other words, are saying peace unto you on. They're all saying, hey, now is the moment to wake up. Now is the moment to accept the truth. That's it. It's kind of like when Jesus, A.K.A. Yeshua, was marking his journey and beginning his steps. He told everybody, hey, you can follow me or you don't have to. You can walk this walk with me or you don't have to. You have that choice. It's not going to stop the truth. So let's get straight into it. Peace unto you, everybody. My name is Nadiie. For all the people that are new, for the ones that are just listening to this without clicking on the live, the ones that clicked on the live, even the ones that scroll past it, by my name, I affirm that the truth is littered throughout your entire life, always, infinitely. My name is Nadiie Black. I am of the tribe of Siksika, Okisinatapia, Nixisakoi Nisokwa. Siksika translates into Blackfoot. From 7 years old. 7 years old, I've been astral projecting and been in this spiritual journey. And I didn't understand what was going on, but like we always tell everybody, you aren't actually in God until you don't know. How do I know this? If I tell you to draw a picture of an omnipresent being that is everywhere but nowhere at once, you can't do it. This is why people say, you know when you say you know nothing. That's when you know you know. And then I will elaborate and say, listen, even Jesus couldn't literally describe what God or heaven is. You can't give me a verse where Jesus said, literally, God is that. Why? Because that being said, hey, be in the world, not of the world. So he would be lying by saying that something in this world literally represents God. If you then said in the same breath, don't be in this world, because if any description of God was in this world, he would say, stay in the world. But because he says, do not be in this world, then that means God ain't here. That's why always Yeshua talks in parables and metaphors. He says heaven is like a kingdom, like, keyword like this, parables, stories, concepts. As a spiritual master, everybody, after today's class, by my name and all my power, I affirm that you shall remember you're a Christ. And then you have the opportunity to accept it or not. It's not my job to be liked or disliked. It's not my job to have fame or no fame, have money or no money. It's simply my job as the Christ, as a reflection of you, for there's a law of divination. What you see is what you are, and what you are is what you see. The fact that you're seeing a Christ means you already are one. And now it's my job to elaborate for people that have questions subconsciously or conscious questions that I may see from the comments that y'all type. But remember, you always still have a choice. So even though you may recognize that you have some type of power, you still have the choice to say whether you want to invoke that power or not. That's your choice. So remember that throughout this entire thing, by the end of this, you're going to be more powerful than Jesus. Literally. Oh my gosh, why did you say that, Nadiie? Jesus in John 14:12 created a prophecy, and in that prophecy he said, you shall do what I do and greater works than I. And then when we align that prophecy with everybody else's prophecy about this age that we're in right now, recognize that as a teacher, because the reason why we're highlighting Yeshua is a lot of people think he's the only Christ. So first, we meet people where they are. As a master, you must meet people where they are. It's not your job to be egoic and subscribe to addictions and attachments to certain words or philosophies. See, Yeshua was able to talk to strippers and prostitutes because he valued God. His only mission was God. So listen, I would talk to you in the way that you talk. Yeshua, you think Yeshua was like, dearest beloved, oh dearest, to the prostitute? No. He's going to be speaking in Ebonics in such a way to deliver the message to that person because his priority is God. I don't care of the words that come in my mouth. Only thing I care about is if those words are going to lead you to God. That's it. And it's that simple. So that's why I tell people, if you're triggered at any word, I don't care what the word is. If you are triggered, if you are angry, if you don't feel a sense of balance or peace, guess what? You still have a little bit more balancing to do, because it's not your job to value a world where every single master said this world ain't real, so don't value it. It's not your job to subscribe to this world. It's your simple job as a light worker, a miracle worker, or whatever title this new generation chooses for itself, to prioritize the source, A.K.A. God. That is it. So for example, if I'm tasked to go into a church, I'm not going to talk about astral projection, because I know if I start talking about that, that's not where they are. So they may not say, oh, this person is a Christ. They may try to ridicule me and judge me. So as a Christ, regardless of what they say or not, when I go into the church, okay, I know what I can say, what I can't say. If I go into the mosque, I'm not going to say God, I'm going to say Allah. I'm going to use whatever terms that they use, because my mission is God. So remember this, everybody. And the reason why I'm telling you all of this, the reason why I'm telling you the pathway to being a Christ, is because after today's class, you will be a Christ. Oh, snaps, you already are one though. So all I'm doing is just guiding your awareness to recognize it, and then you have the choice to accept it and invoke it to wherever you want to, do. For example, I can tell you the pathway of these things, but if you don't consciously choose to embark upon them, you will know the information. For example, we know that phones have the capability of doing magnificent things that weren't possible 100 years ago. It doesn't mean that we know how to do those things and replicate it. We know the phone does it. We just don't know how to create a phone ourselves from scratch. That's what I'm saying here. That's the correlation. You have a phone in your hand and you know it can send a picture to somebody in a matter of seconds. But you can't create that, replicate it, until you go on the pathway of actually applying the information in the studies. So, in other words, I can give you this Christ information to allow you to be aware that you are a Christ, which will happen. It will happen. Do you have a schedule for when you go live? I typically try to go every Tuesday and Wednesday. I will always alert people of when I'm going, but remember, time is not so. So if a Tuesday and Wednesday comes and God says don't teach, my mission is God. God said don't teach, so I'm not going to teach. I was chilling in the house all day. I'm like, God, when are you going to give me that itch? Because remember, my priority is God, as should yours be. So if I'm sitting around, I'm meditating all day, I'm coding my game, I'm doing all this extra stuff, I'm like, damn, I didn't get the itch yet. Usually the itch comes. I took a shower, boom, all these downloads started coming. I'm like, oh, snaps, I gotta hurry up and go live. It's coming. It happens just like that. I don't plan it. But to give you some type of structure, I typically try to go Tuesday and Wednesdays, because that's typically like my full off days. But, whenever God says teach, guess what? I'm going live. I've been waiting for you to pop up, Nadiie. Thank you. So, as we all know, today's course is going to be about becoming the Christ. And everybody, I know you are excited about becoming the Christ, but recognize that you already are the Christ, okay? Just recognize that and hold on to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this stage, because by my name, I recognize I'm not talking to students right now. I'm not viewing you as a student. I don't care to actually have students. I actually was etherically teaching a class. I usually don't tell people this, but before I go live, I have another live class in the astral realms and etheric realms. And I will sit down just like this, and I will literally just be teaching. And if someone was to eavesdrop and look in my patio window, they would just think I'm talking to myself. But if they was to listen, they'd be like, bro, you're talking about some deep stuff. Even some more powerful stuff that I won't even probably talk about this class, because I was saying a lot of stuff. But if you turn your what they call the third eye, what we call the first eye on, you will see that there's a lot of beings in my room, in my house. You turn your first eye on, it, like, bro, there's hella beings in this house. And I was teaching to all of them. And one of them asked me a question, and it guided me to say, listen, the 3-day course that I give, so if you DM me 33, if you DM me 33, I'll give you a free 3-day course. And that course literally is the step-by-step in becoming a Christ in 3 days. I'm going to essentially vibrationally give you that course. In other words, I'm going to vibrationally give you that course, in other words, in today's class. So everybody's going to experience the 3-day course. It's very, very powerful by watching this. But I was telling people, I'm like, listen, most people that claim to be teachers and want money and stuff like that, they give you God at the very end, but they tell you to pay a lot of money for it. I literally give you the 3-day course to becoming a Christ for free. And I was telling this spirit, because you know, physical beings aren't the only beings that's interested in this type of information. Not every single soul is a Christ. Y'all recognize that, right? Not every single soul is an ascended master. So when you vibrationally have that energy, like I do, like you do, you're going to attract beings. This is when we say, hey, if you start to walk on this path, be very wary of the places you go in the astral realms. Because if you didn't sign up to be a teacher, but you signed up to be a Christ, guess what? They both go hand in hand. So you're going to wake up in the astral realms one day after you astral project, and there's going to be a whole lot of beings around you. And you're going to be like, why are y'all following me? And they're going to be like, but you're the Christ, though. Can you teach us? Can you teach us? Lost souls are going to be attracted to you. All of these things are going to happen, so you got to be prepared for it. So I was telling this being, I said, listen, I literally created a course, and I went through the entire course with all of these spirits. A whole lot of spirits in my house. I went through the course with all of these spirits. And I was like, it's not my job to be liked or disliked. I do not care. Just like Jesus, just like any other Christ before. I don't care about being liked or disliked. Same thing for you if you choose to be on this path. The only thing that you should be prioritizing is God giving the truth. That's it. And I was saying, if it was up to me, I wouldn't even have a mystery school. Yes, you can click the link in my bio and join the mystery school after you take the 3-day course. So because today's class is going to be other words, that 3-day course, because vibrationally is going to be the same, though I'm using different words. After y'all all experience today's class, you'll have the vibration to experience the mystery school after you click the link in the bio. It's going to make more sense. If you just click the link in the bio and join the mystery school, you know, you pay the little $3, because it costs more to get a king size Twix bar than to join the mystery school. So you can't tell me there's no value in it. But you can click in the mystery, you can click the link, you can go to the mystery school right now. But if you don't take the 3-day course or stay in this class, it's not going to make sense. Vibrationally, you may know the words that I'm saying because you know English, but it's not going to vibrationally make sense. And so I was telling the spirit, I was like, if it was my will, I wouldn't even have a school, because I'm literally giving you the 3-day course to becoming a Christ. Literally, I'm telling you, go to God. Everybody else, so if you DM me 33, if you don't already have the 3-day course, to be quite frank with you, it's foolish to not have it. Because it's not a one-time thing. It's anytime your vibration is off or your balance is off, you take the 3-day course again. I was telling this being, if it was my will, I wouldn't even have a school for people to join, because I'm giving you the keys to go to God directly. It's my job to take you to God, and then you talk to God. Don't come to me. That's what a Christ is. My mission is God. Don't come to me after you take the course. That's my will. Because I'm telling you to go to God. But because God doesn't deny you, I won't. So if you come back, guess what? You can join the mystery school if you want to. So I was telling these beings this, and I'm like, listen, if you take the course, and I was going through the course with them, then you'll recognize that you're going to be in a state, and I don't know if I'm going to do this. I probably won't. But I have so many testimonies. But I was talking to God about the testimonies that I have. And I'm like, what more proof do people need? Because even if you talk to like a psychologist or anybody that debates and stuff like that, they would tell you, well, if someone is claiming to be something and they say they have a course, you can't say that I'm lying or telling the truth, peace unto you. You can't say I'm lying or telling the truth until you yourself take it and make your own assessment. That's literally how it's supposed to go. No, you don't even have the right to deny what I'm saying as a lie or the truth until you take it and you experience it. So I was talking to God about testimonies and stuff, and I was like, I'm not even really I don't really care for posting testimonies, even though I have thousands of people that say, and thousands of souls that say, yo, this actually worked. I'm experiencing all of this. Because it shouldn't have to come to that point. So Sola says she's still in day 1. It's very powerful. Sola's actually taking the course right now. But I was telling them all, I was like, listen, if you take the 3-day course and you choose to come back, perfect. I'm not going to deny you because God don't deny you. But if it was my own will, I would say, hey, take the 3-day course and pass along the information. And if you have any questions, come. So that's what we was talking about in the class before this class that I was talking to all these spirits. And if you're actually a little more interested in that, it was like they came in my house because I invited them all in. I said I'm going to have a class. And I invited all the spirits in. And they were interested in the why being a Christ is important. And I said, hey, it would serve for us to remove saying Christ, Buddha, and all of this. You got the shine in your eyes, brother. Love to see another. I'll be very grateful for you. It would serve for everybody to just say it's called the truth. And that's my prophecy. In a few, what you would consider years, even though time isn't so and everything is happening right now, and what people call years in time, is going to be a time where people don't call Buddha consciousness conscious. They don't call it Christ conscious. They don't call it Krishna conscious. They just call it the truth. It's just going to be the truth. It's not even going to be the lie versus the truth, because when you're the truth, the lies don't exist. Literally, that's how it is in physicality. When you go into a courtroom and somebody's lying on your name and you bring the truth, guess what? You won the case. It's like that in every single realm. Because what a courthouse symbolically represents, is a place where truth prevails. By that definition, that's the same definition of heaven. That's the same definition of God. Winter break, I plan to go through the course. It's very powerful. That's the same definition of all these places. Vibrationally, a courthouse is supposed to be a place where truth prevails. That's why, law is so powerful when you use them properly. But, you have people that don't use them properly, and, you get all the human ego stuff that is littered throughout of it. But I was telling these beings, I said, it will serve for you to stop calling things Christ and all of this. But as a master, if someone recognizes these terms, it's our job to bridge with them. So I will continue to say I'm a Christ, and I'm going to continue to say all of this until you really know what I'm talking about. And when you figure out what I'm really talking about, then I don't have to say I'm a Christ anymore. I can just say I'm telling you the truth. And that's what you can pass along to your people. I work at a school. Imagine that K, 4th grade. Oh, yeah, you're dealing with the children. Oh, that's the next generation. So vibrationally, even if you don't tell them this information through vocabulary, vibrationally, they're going to feel more comfortable, and their spirits is going to be watered through your presence. Like Yeshua says, may my presence be enough. So that's essentially why I had that class before. Do you have any meditation advice? I'll include that within today's class. So now that we got all of that disclaimer out the way, for anybody that's new, that's like, whoa, this person, I just see a different energy about them. If you see a different energy about me, I need you all to accept that within yourself. So what we're going to do today, everybody, in true Christ class, this is how you know we have a Christ class today, because I don't do too many Christ classes. But you're in a Christ class when I do group activities. Because again, none of you are students. Because remember, time is not real. So I got to break down this law of divination for you. So if you need notebooks, I'll thank you for all the donations. And you can click the link in the bio, and it will give you another donation link as well. So there's multiple ways to donate. And a quick thing about that, we're coding a game, and it's pretty much done. It's going to be dropping January 8th or 9th. So if anybody truly wants to donate, but they aren't in certain financial situations to donate practically, when that game drops, it's a free game. Just download the game. I get paid when you look at the ad. You can click on the ad if you want to. It literally is free. But yeah, we're going to talk about that a little later. But we're going to be doing some activities together to set an intention. Because a part of Christ's teachings, or I need all the, and get your notebooks. If you got to write things down, write it down in your etheric notebooks. Write it down in your etheric notebooks. You must set an intention. Because if you don't set an intention, you don't know where you want to go. You'll be talking about trees and somehow you're on cheeseburgers. So that's why you need an intention. So if you start to veer off into cheeseburgers, you can spit it and say lettuce is on cheeseburgers and lettuce is from trees. You can still, because in God there's infinity. So there's always a way to come back home. You see how I just connected those things? That's God. So we must set an intention. And because all of you are masters, because remember this divine law. For example, as above, so below. That's one of the laws that people know. But it's actually a divination law, which means the initiation of something shows forth the completion of it. Because look, this might blow some people's minds. Time is not real. So this is why this divination law is extremely important. For example, if you, this would be a perfect example. So they say XRP in stock is something that's going to be blowing up. And it started to. I'm invested only a little bit in it because, you know, limited funds or whatnot. But I invested a little bit of it. My friend invested some. And when it jumped to $2, his dad made $20,000. He made $1,000. I doubled my profits. Everybody doubled their profits. So what I was telling him, because it's perfect for it can make sense for you to prove this divination law of what as above so below means. What I mean when I say time isn't real, the initiation of something also has the completion of it within it. And I was telling him like this. So if XRP is something that is actually supposed to be as big as it is, and we're literally seeing it, so if you don't invest now, it's going to be pretty much over. If it's as big as it's supposed to be, then guess what? The moment it raises, then that means however big it was supposed to be, it is currently that by law of the divination. Because if the future does not exist, then where is this abundance that this cryptocurrency is going to be in? If the future doesn't exist, then that abundance isn't going to go to the future. And if the past doesn't exist, the abundance isn't going to go to the past. It's just going to stay in the right now. And that blew his mind. And I was like, listen, this is where we say, if it is designed to be something extremely abundant, then technically we are millionaires right now. Technically, we are millionaires right now. Because by linear perspective, people that believe in time and all of this, even though we know it's not real, because literally scientifically, they proved something called negative time, because they're still subscribed to time. And this is what I love being a spiritual master, because I would say all of these things and I'll be so ahead of all of these scientists, and then randomly a science discovery will prove everything that I say correct. And then now everybody says, oh snap, you've been right the whole time. Science proved something called negative time. So they had like this energy right here, right? And there was like they have some atoms or like some cells, or whatever science calls these things, the molecules, atoms, and cells. They were showing them exiting and going back into this hub, this energy hub. Well, they accounted for all of the molecules coming out. Then out of nowhere, molecules were going out of the energy hub and going into the energy hub before they were even created to begin with. They're like, what the heck just happened? So, for example, to make it make sense, say there is the hub, right? And there's 3 molecules, right? 1 came out, 2, 3. They said that when they had all 3 right here, somehow it was still spawning more and back, but it was still technically those same 3 that we had. We have the only 3 in existence. So how is more leaving and going back? And we found out that they're the same thing as this. What the heck is that? So science calls it negative time. Time is not real. It's something that is not linear at all. So I was telling my friend, because we was talking about the XRP thing that's going on right now. And I was like, look, and we apply this, because remember, as a master, I have to teach in concepts and parables for these things to make sense spiritually for you. So right now we're teaching about the law of divination, which is as above, so below. The initiation of something also has the completion within it, because time is not so. So if this cryptocurrency is supposed to be abundant because there's no future to go to, because time isn't so, and there's no past to go to because time is not so, it's just going to exist in the initiation. So if it's supposed to be abundant and you are now partaking in abundance, guess what? You all are Christ. Because if time is not real, and we all know that the Christ is within you, and we know that we all know that I'm a Christ, and you're literally seeing and you're listening to it, and by law of divination, what you are is what you see is what you are. If we know this to be true, there is no future date that you're going to become a Christ, because time is not real. Have you actually projected? Been doing it since I was 7 years old. So there's no future date that you're supposed to become a Christ, because there's no future. So this Christ energy is going to be, so this is the Christ, right? This is the Christ. It's walking, but it's actually walking in place, because it can't moonwalk back here, because if it moonwalks back here, it's going to be falling. It can't go to the past, because it's going to fall again. It has to stay right here where there's a platform for it to run in place like a treadmill. And all you do is say, hey, I am now going to accept this within myself. I'm now going to accept this within myself. And when you accept it within yourself, then you start to recognize why masters will say, hey, say the truth even if you don't believe it right now, because the truth is always going to be the truth. Time is only a concept. Yes, it's a concept, and it's also a tool. Now, one of the main points for time is to organize our spiritual life. So remember, we're going to set this intention. It's a very, very interesting thing we got going on, but I will conclude with this, and then we'll do our group activity to set our intention. Everybody, after this class, utilize time as the tool that it's supposed to be, which is this: I utilize it on your phone every single hour. So you know that repeating numbers and stuff, they say repeating numbers are angelic numbers, and it's a form of language from certain spirits to speak to you, right? We know that to be true. That's something, that's a phenomena that people really can't like put their finger on, because it, like, once you become spiritual, you start seeing numbers everywhere. Well, has anybody ever stopped to think, if they're communicating to us through numbers, shouldn't we be able to communicate to them back? Has anybody stopped to think about that? So this is when I say, listen, utilize time to your benefit. In your phone, set an alarm for every repeating hour. I use the 24-hour clock because it just makes sense to me. You know, 111, 222, 333. Whenever you wake up, don't mess up your sleep cycle. Your circadian rhythm. Don't mess up your circadian rhythm. Do not mess it up. But 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, every single hour, set something up called the God alarm. And anytime, and since it's 9 o'clock, there might be one more God alarm that goes off. It just depends, because, sometimes I turn it off and on if it's too late, depending on what I'm doing. But I'm doing like it right now, as in the recognizing of all is well, But every single hour, set the God alarm up so you can guarantee that God is throughout your entire day. Shouldn't that just be like a standard if you want to be spiritual? Because we can't simply just rely on the physical flesh to do something that it isn't inherently designed to do, which is evolve and be enlightened. Because we know that to be true, because the moment you are fully enlightened, you leave the flesh. So the flesh literally can't even handle it, because everybody that becomes enlightened leaves the flesh. So it would be in everybody's best interest after today's class to set up an alarm every single hour on the repeating numbers, because those numbers are frequencies. This is a fantastic idea. I'm going to do that. Yes. Those numbers are frequencies. So every repeating number. If you use the 12 hours time cycle, it'd be 111, 222, 333 p.m., 444 p.m. Every single hour, set an alarm, and call it the God alarm. And just says God right there. So it goes off, you see the alarm, it just says God. And I tell people, you can say your gratitudes, you can say a divine statement. If you say a prayer, though, or a divine statement, say it one time. Say it one time. But that's extremely important. That's how you guarantee. Don't Don't play with God. Don't play with spirituality. You need to make guarantees. And how you guarantee God is going to be throughout your day is by doing this. This is the only way. This is the way. Until you become fully ingrained within God, so much so that you just know vibrationally when the alarm is going to go off, even if you turn your phone off. Because it's a routine. If you do it long enough, you're vibrationally going to feel this pull to say a prayer every hour, vibrationally, because you've been doing it for so long, so you just know. So yeah, do this technique. Use this technique every single hour. Set the God alarm up. And then it will get to a point where you can turn the phone off and you will just know by vibration when to talk to Source. So now that we got that, right? Let's set today's intention. And how we do this, because everybody's a master, we're going to be doing this together. Everybody set your ego aside. So I'm going to teach you something. I love this. This is so fun. People think playing games is fun, even though I'm making a game. This is fun for me. This is really fun for me. So we're all going to take a deep breath on 3. All right? Very deep breath. Let it out. When you exhale, make a noise if you want to. You ain't got to, but just let it out. Huff and puff like the wolf that blew down the pig's house. On the count of 3, everybody take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Let it all out. All right, so on the count of 3, we're going to say the word ego. So on the count of 3, we're all going to say ego. Come back tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you why. On the count of 3, everybody out loud. I don't care if your baby in front of you. I don't care if you're in class. I don't care if you teach. I don't care who in front of you. Right now, God is priority. We're going to move our ego out the way. And this is a very powerful way to do it. So on the count of 3, we're all going to say, ego, come back tomorrow. 1, 2, 3. Out loud. Ego, come back tomorrow. And so it is. Why do we say that? We're playing the ego's game against itself. See, when you tell the ego, come back tomorrow, the ego is going to say, ooh, you finally gave me a date that I can get to you. Finally. Come back tomorrow. I will be there tomorrow. Guess what, though? Now you don't have any ego. So if you do the work today, when the ego tries to knock on your door to come back, the lock is going to be different. It's not going to have the keys. It's going to say, hey, open the door up. And then if it somehow finds a way to open the door, you moved your entire house like that one celebrity. Move the entire house to another location. Because we're utilizing time against itself. The ego is like, oh, snaps. I got them. They gave me a set date. But if you say, ego, come back tomorrow, guess what? The ego is going to leave because it's so foolish. It's so egoic. It's going to be like, bet. But it's not going to account for what if they do the work to the point where now the body can't even involve itself or intertwine itself within the ego anymore because it doesn't compute like water and oil. And if I made the truth statements, which is after today's class, you're going to be a Christ because this class is the 3-day course. If you DM me 33, you can get the free 3-day course. But today's class is going to be vibrationally that 3-day course. So if you just take the class, guess what? When the ego comes back tomorrow, it's not going to have a house to go to. And then after that, you say, ego, I retire you. And so it is. But you cannot retire the ego until you first let it go. So that's why. So again, we're going to do it one more time and say, and so it is at the end. On 3, we're going to say, ego, come back tomorrow. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Ego, come back tomorrow. And so it is. So now the ego is gone. Regardless of how you feel about it, you ain't got no ego no more. No one can call you a narcissist. No one can call you egoic. No one can say anything to you right now because the ego is gone. It's that simple. Why? Because you willed it to be. No one has power over you. You willed that. So God says, and so it is, my child. Now, without the ego, we have room for an intention. First, we have to empty our cup in order to fill it up with God, or the source, as we say. So now, today's intention is going to be this. So on the count of 3, we're all going to say in unison, out loud, not in your mind's eye, out loud. Because remember, the throat chakra, energy center, or whatever terminology that you want to use spiritually, the throat center is where the Christ glands are, or where the truth is. Why? How do we know this? If Jesus never spoke, if Buddha never spoke, if Malcolm X never spoke, if Martin Luther never spoke, or the people that they inspired never spoke, you would have never known. That's why never allow anybody to silence you. You can do actions all day. You can do Christly guided actions all day. But if no one is able to speak it, nobody will know it. That's why you should never allow anybody to silence you. So, on the count of 3, we're all going to say, I refuse to be silenced. And so it is. And that's why I got a birthmark on my throat. And so it is, right? So on the count of 3, everybody, we're going to say, I refuse to be silenced. All right? 1, 2, 3. I refuse to be silenced. And so it is. Hey, a spirit just played a drum for us. Y'all, you might have heard it, you might have not heard it, but I just heard a doom, doom, doom. After we said that, I was like, oh, that's new. We refuse to be silenced. First, we retired the ego. Ego, get out of us. Now, we refuse to be silenced. That means, okay, now we have the potential of saying the truth, but we're not all the way there yet. We're not all the way there yet. First, we retired the ego. Now, we refuse to be silenced. Now, what we're going to do is affirmation. We're going to affirm awareness, right? It's not just a typical affirmation. I am love. I am this. I am that. You can say that all you want. That's cool. But we have to become these things. So now we're going to say an affirmation of awareness. Not an affirmation of just saying a sentence that vibrationally is true if it comes out of our mouth. No, we're going to say affirmations of awareness. So this is what we're going to do. On the count of 3, we're going to say, by my name, that's affirming your rank, because you may not know how powerful you are. I may not know how powerful I am. I could be a Christ all day, but what if I'm 300 billion times infinity times powerful than what I think I am? We don't know how powerful we actually are because we're still in this limiting human body. But our spirits may be so more powerful. This body may only be able to inhabit just a piece of our actual power. So when we say by our name, that is us affirming our spiritual rank regardless of the flesh or vessel that we are inhabiting. That's why saying a Christ term like, or a truth term like by my name is extremely important for all your prayers. Especially affirmation divine statements. So on the count of 3, we're going to say, by my name, I affirm the eyes of truth. By my name, I affirm the eyes of truth. And we're going to go through this affirmation and replace just one word to really knock each aspect of existence within our affirmation. So on the count of 3, we're going to say, by my name, I affirm the eyes of truth. All right? 1, 2, 3. Out loud now. By my name, I affirm the eyes of truth. And so it is. Doom, doom, doom. Then we're going to say, on 3, by my name, I affirm the actions of truth. On the count of 3, by my name, I affirm the actions of truth. And we're saying this specifically. We're generalizing it enough, and we're making it specific enough to not limit it. The reason why is we say the actions of truth rather than I affirm this specific action, because we don't want to limit it in any way. We just are making sure that whatever is in our reality, whatever actions, regardless if it's our actions, another's actions, an animal's actions, whoever can make an action is going to be of truth if we're around it. That's why this one is important. So we're going to say on 3, by my name I affirm the actions of truth. Okay? 1, 2, 3. By my name I affirm the actions of truth. And so it is. We're going to go down this list now. Okay? Now on the count of 3, we're going to say out loud, by my name I affirm the words of truth. Why do you think they call it the word? Where do words come from? The mouth. Vibrationally, the throat. On 3, we're all going to say, by my name, I affirm the words of truth. 1, 2, 3. By my name, I affirm the words of truth. And so it is. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my gosh, we got the eyes of truth. We got the actions of truth. We got the words of truth. That's all we need. Now this is when we're concluded. So basically, by my name, it's according to the powers that you're getting close. You're getting close, Wendy. You're getting close. Follow along. You're getting real close. I like it. So now, what we do is now a willing in of all of those together. We're not saying it all together because we already said it. You only need to say it one time. You only need to make a prayer one time, because you can't say God knows all and then say God, oh, in case you forgot. It doesn't work like that. So now, in conclusion, what we're going to say is, by my name, I am, or I affirm that I am the truth. So by my name, I affirm that I am the truth. By my name, I affirm that I am the truth. Okay? On the count of 3, by my name, I affirm that I am the truth. All right? 1, 2, 3. Out loud. Now scream it if you want to. By my name, I affirm that I am the truth. Say it one more time. No. Say it one more time. 1, 2, 3. By my name, I affirm that I am the truth. Say it again. By my name, I affirm that I am the truth. Once more. By my name, I affirm that I am the truth. And so it is. Guess what, everybody? Guess what y'all just did? Guess what y'all just did? Now I'm going to explain everything. Make sure you say your and so it is, your ashes, your amens. Try to stay away from that one. Say whatever one you want to. Let me explain to y'all what is happening. My ears started ringing. Look, I don't even have to tell y'all what's going on. Y'all already are experiencing the miracle. Y'all don't even know what's going on yet. First time here, already head tingles. I ain't lying to you. I told y'all after today's class, you're going to be a crisis. I'm not playing with you. It's my job to give you the truth. But now, as a medicine man, if you don't know, you're dealing with medicine men when they explain to you the histories of what we're doing ceremonially. So what we just did is so more powerful than you can ever imagine. Your cells are quite literally jumping with joy. Your cells are quite literally jumping with joy. You may start shaking. You may start hearing stuff. You may have ringing ears. You may feel lightheaded at times. So you may start smelling certain scents. A lot of stuff is going to be happening. Why? What is going on? You just affirmed every possible way through sight, action, through words, and through your just existing. You said, the way I perceive is truth. I'm going to break down everything that y'all just said so y'all know. Because I don't need y'all to say, oh, I just did something cool with this Christ. You know, he may or may not be a Christ, but hey, what we did was cool. I don't need y'all to know. I need y'all to be like, yo, I'm the Christ. I just experienced something crazy. Oh, she said it's glitching. Oh yeah, when there's a lot of powerful energy, my apologies. Technology will start to, you know, waver. So you can leave and then come back and it might fix it. But let me explain to everybody what's going on. Y'all said, by my name I affirm the eyes of truth. So now anything you see, if it's glitching for anybody, is a lot of powerful energy goes on. You know, that's why they say, well, you know, when you see aliens or ETs or any powerful being, we try to record it, you know, it comes out bad video because the energy is too powerful. But, you know, if you leave alive and come back, it may fix it. It just depends. You know, it's a matter of connection and this energy that's happening. But we just affirm the sight of truth. We put on God's glasses, as Dick Gregory says. That's why we say, by my name, I affirm the eyes of truth, and so it is. Doom, doom, doom. We affirmed, no matter what happens. I'm gonna teach y'all something, because y'all, everybody right now thinks they're still a human right now. You can't even accurately give me enough gratitude for what just happened, because there aren't words to explain in human language in the future, what you think is the future, or now, to actually explain what's going on. Well, the best way we can explain it is what an elder told me when I first became a medicine man. He said, Nadiie, I was 7 years old. He said, Nadiie, you never have to do this medicine man ceremony again. You only need to do it one time. If at any point you find your energy wavering, think about the ceremony. That's all you have to do. As that elder told me, I'm telling you, you never have to do this ceremony again, because it's done. Because you can't say God knows it all and then say, hell, hey, God, just in case you forgot. That's not how it works. You do it one time, that is it. And at any point in time you find your energy wavering, forgive yourself. Forgiveness is as simple as, hey, I'm a new man. I'm a new woman. I'm a new being. It's over. Forgiveness is literally a clean slate. Forgive yourself, hold no grudges, hold no attachments, and just remember this ceremony. Remember this day. This day is far more important. When y'all go into the astral realms or the afterlife, you're going to have, and this is symbolic. Don't take what I'm saying literally right now and these next few sentences. When you go into the astral realms and afterlife, you're going to have way more feathers on your wings because of today's ceremony. Way more feathers on your wings. And they're going to say, hey, it's because you did something extremely powerful. Do not thank me now, because you don't fully understand what is happening. So I don't withhold your thanks until we all go into the afterlife after God. You know, withhold your thanks. Tell me thank you when we all are transcending, going back home to heaven. That's when you tell me thank you. Don't tell me thank you right now, because you don't understand what's going on until you do. And the reason why I say you don't understand is because in God, you truly don't know. That's when you know you're dealing with God. Because if I tell you to draw me a picture of an omnipresent being that's everywhere but nowhere at once, no one can do it. Not even me. No one can do it. That's why they say you know that you know when you don't know. That's when you're dealing with the beyond. So we first put on the sight of God. So no matter what happens, all we're going to see is as God sees. Then we affirm, by my name, I affirm the actions of truth. That means, then this is specifically why I didn't say my actions or their actions. No, any action that comes in our existence. And it's very specific of how we structured everything as well, because they all flow together. First, we affirm the sight of truth. Now, after that, after the sight of truth, is the actions of truth. How we find actions is through our sight and every other means of perception. So that means the way we structured it is any action that is in our existence or in our little reality bubble, we all carry a little reality bubble, kind of like this seed of life geometry behind me. We all carry our little reality bubble. The moment someone or a thing or a being, physical or not physical, etherically or astrally, comes in our reality bubble, all their actions by law of God has to be truth. Whether it's good intentions or bad intentions, you're going to know exactly what's going on. Now you're starting to see now, oh, this might have benefited my life far more than I've ever can recognize. Then we're not done. We affirm the words of truth. So even if someone came in your reality bubble, because first it was the sight, so now I'm seeing what it is. Then it's the actions, meaning you can only produce truth through your actions. So if you have ill will, guess what? I can see it. If you have goodwill, guess what? I can see it. Then we said, by my name, I affirm the words of truth, which means now we put all beings in a corner and say, hey, even if you have ill intentions, I put the Wonder Woman lasso on you. You're only allowed to tell me the truth. Only allowed to tell me the truth. We put the Wonder Woman lasso on any being that steps in our existence and says, hey, it's your obligation. Look up the word obligation. It's your obligation to tell me the truth. Then after that, we still ain't done. Then after that, we said we did all of this because I am the truth. That's when you get the trumpets firing off. That's when we get the earth shaking. That's when we get the oh snaps. Because if you recognize law of divination, it means this. For example, the best way to explain the last part, the I am the truth one, I'll tell you in this story. There are stories that when Jesus walked in rooms, if people had what they call demons inside of them, and I don't believe in demons because they aren't actually real, there's something else, but for sake of human transcription, they say in the story, when Jesus walked in a room, if you had a demon in you, the demon would literally jump out and run away. That's what we just affirmed in that last one. I am the truth. Because a lie cannot exist with the truth. The moment the truth comes in, all the lies have to leave. It's their obligation to leave. So now, when we affirmed, I am the truth, now that being that has ill will, they could have been walking towards you with ill will. Now when you definitively said, because I am the truth, they walk away. They was like, ooh, I was about to stab you, but you said I'm the truth, so now I got to moonwalk backwards. Now you're not even giving them room to disturb you. Because water and oil do not mix. There aren't demons in heaven. Okay? I'll say it like that. There aren't demons in heaven. It just does. There isn't hate in heaven. It doesn't exist. There isn't indecisiveness. You've never heard a story, a verse, a prophecy of an angel saying, hey, do these wings make me look too big? You never heard indecisiveness in any being that claims to be of truth. Because when you're dealing with the truth, it's just the truth. No lie, no matter how big or small, can exist with the truth. That is the ceremony we just done. Type 33s in the chat. Everybody type 33s in the chat if you know now how powerful that was and is. Type 33s in the chat if you now know how powerful that is. Yep, type 33s in the chat if you now know how powerful that is. And remember, like the elder told me when I first got initiated to being a medicine man at the age of 7, you only have to do this ceremony one time. If any time you find yourself wavering, forgive yourself and just think about the ceremony again. Because I'm going to tell you, now I'm not getting spiritual right now. This is literally science. This is how the brain works scientifically. Your brain can't differentiate whether something is happening now, in the past, or the future. For example, if you think about sexual things, you get horny now. If you think about angry things, you get mad now. You don't get mad you don't reserve anger for the future. If you think about a traumatic event, your body tenses up now. Anything you think, this is science. This is not even spiritual right now. This is why people love our teachings, because we make it make sense in a tangible way for everybody to recognize it. This is science. When your brain is thinking something, it thinks it's happening right now. That's why the elder told me I didn't get it when I was 7. I get it now as an adult. Oh, the reason why you told me not to do the ceremony again, elder, and I thank you again. The reason why that elder told me don't do the ceremony again and just think about it is because literally how our body is designed. When you think of something, the body thinks it's happening again. So when you think of the ceremony, the body thinks it's happening again. So you'll literally re-embrace all of that energy over again. That's science. That's not even spiritual yet. That's why I say don't replicate this ceremony. Don't try to do it again. Just think about it. That's the ethers. The ethers was actually the 5th element of the periodic table. In 1649, the periodic table was created by law of divination. In 1649, the first element was created. By law of divination, as above, so below. When the initiation of something is created, the completion of it exists. So in 1649, when the first element was created, that means the entire periodic table was created in the same moment. So when we know about that, we understand that the 5th element is ether. When we dive deep into what ether is, because it was originally 36 elements, now it wavers in the 20s. The 5th element, ether, is the thought form realm. The etheric realm is a realm full of thought forms. Did you just finish the ceremony? Yep, we all just did it. The fun fact, the periodic table came from a dream. Come on now. You can't make this stuff up. So, this is how powerful thoughts is. This is why I precisely tell everybody, what we think is actually spiritual is not even spiritual. We think the astral realms is spiritual. We think remote viewing is spiritual. That is not even spiritual. That is still all scientific. We have certain beings, like, for example, like Thoth and beings like that. They call it science magic or magic science. I have declassified documents of all of these things, of these same scientists with diagrams proving what every single aura layer is and all of it. I have the declassified I can send it to you. That proves it's not spiritual. Oh, snap, Nadiie, you're starting to blow my mind. Hold on. Follow me now. Because we all have heard the saying, the ones that know they know nothing. I'm going to explain what that means. You can't draw me a picture of an omnipresent being that is everywhere but nowhere at once. Your brain can't even compute where to even start. You can't do that. No human, no being, no matter, Anunnaki can't even draw that picture. That's what I'm telling you. Jesus couldn't even draw that picture. Buddha couldn't even. If I told Buddha, yo, draw me a picture of an omnipresent being that's everywhere but nowhere at once, he's going to be like, it's impossible. This proves that God is supposed to be unknown to limited beings. We don't have the capability of knowing what it is. I'm going to give y'all a story, right? And this is going to blow you. I'm so grateful because I told this to the class before I went live. I told this to the etheric class, but like I told everybody, when I go live, right before I go live, if you was to eavesdrop on my house, you would see, I'm meditating and I'm talking. You would think I'm talking to myself, but if you turn your first eye on, you would see there's hella spirits in my house. And I'm teaching all of them. Because like Jesus, like Buddha, like all of these beings, I don't deny anybody. Because my priority is God. Oh, lost soul, come to me. Why do you think Jesus went to hell? If you look at the story, Jesus went to hell to go teach the beings of that realm, hey, this is what the truth is. You can come if you want to. You don't have to. But, hey, I just wanted to drop by and say, yo, I'm the truth. This is the truth. Peace. I do the exact same thing as do you. Even if you don't consciously know what's going on. The fact that you're seeing one who does it means vibrationally you recognize it. What is the saying? Birds of a feather flock together. You can't be of this bird. Quite literally, my last name is Bird. You can't be of this bird if you don't have the same feathers. So I'm going to tell you this story. That's going to explain how much it's important to get to a point in spirituality to where you say, I don't know. Look, I had a conversation. I talked to God directly. I went to a place that an angel called God's domain. I went to a place, an angel called God's Domain. Literally, it was an archangel. I'm not going to tell you the name of the archangel because I don't want you to get attached to names and be like, ooh, he talked to this. None of that is actually important because remember, that's still a human word. Archangel, whoever, is still human words. So that's actually not what that being is because this is a human word, which is an illusionary word because it's an illusionary world. So that's why in the 3-day course, I tell you, just lose descriptions. Don't call wall. Don't call hair. Don't call tapestry. Don't call sacred geometry. Just stop describing everything because what you think it is ain't actually what it is. You can't say, oh, be in the world, not of the world, and then think that your descriptions that you learned from the world, because the world and society taught you these descriptions. Why do you think bread is called bread? Because somebody somewhere said, hey, I'm going to call this bread, and he convinced enough people to call it bread, and then through generation, we called it bread. Guess what? If back in the day, the person that created bread said, I'm going to call bread vacuum, today we will call a loaf of bread vacuum, a loaf of vacuum. Because language literally don't exist. You just have to convince somebody, and like if you want to create a language right now, you just have to convince enough people that this is what it is. And guess what? Now it's what it is. So I went to the astral realms one day. And usually when I go into the astral realms, I go into a different version of my house, right? But today I went to a place that they call God's Domain. And it was so overwhelming. When I went to God's Domain, and God's Domain isn't even where God is. It's like a loading screen in the game. This place is so powerful, right? There's no human language in the future, in the now, or the past that could have accurately described what the heck I was seeing. The best thing I can say is it kind of reminded me of the Disney movie called Soul, when all the souls were lined up going into the light. It kind of like Soul kind of ate with that because it visually kind of looked like that. Astral projection tips, I will get to that a little later. I got you. But and as I was looking at, and the only reason why I call it God's Domain is because the angel that was with me, the archangel that was with me, he called it, or it, because there's no gender there. It called it God's Domain. So if you gonna call it God's Domain, guess what? Now I'm calling it God's Domain. I'm not calling it God's Domain because I'm gonna act like I just know something. No, the being that invited me here called it that. So guess what? Now I'm calling it that because that being knows more than me about this area and this environment. So the being, so this is God's Domain. When I was there, I immediately figured out why Jesus couldn't describe anything literally about these places. It's literally impossible. Think about right now, everybody right now, just follow me along. Everybody right now, think about the best thing that ever happened in your life, right? The best experience. I don't care if you got $100 or someone gave you some extra money or that one gift, that one holiday. Just think about the best experience you've ever had, right? Think about the best experience you ever had. Now, just visualize that same experience, but you're in a mansion now. Visualize that exact same experience, but you're experiencing it inside of a mansion. Oh, now it becomes a little better. Okay, we're not done yet. So the best thing, let's just say the best thing that you ever experienced was like a Thanksgiving dinner, right? It was that one Thanksgiving dinner was so crazy, all the jokes and everything. Whatever your best experience was, visualize that exact same experience that you say is the best one, but just now visualize it that it happened inside of a mansion. Well, that's a little bit better because if you're in a mansion, that means you're rich. Now take that same mansion and put that mansion inside an island that you own, right? Follow me now. So visualize that same experience you said was the best experience you ever experienced. You experienced it in a mansion. Now put that mansion inside of an island that you own. You own the island though. No, we're not done yet. Now put that island that you own with the mansion that you own with the best experience that you own on a planet that you own. Okay? You see where I'm going now, right? We ain't done yet. Now you say you own a planet, you own an island, you own a mansion, and you own a good experience. That was just amazing. It was the best one. Now put that planet that you own inside of a universe that you own. We're going to keep going. Now you see why it's impossible to explain what the heck God is? Because even all of that doesn't come close. It's not even 1%. It's not even a fraction of a percent of what it actually is, what I experienced. That was just God's domain. That was before I actually talked to God. There is no human concept or experience that can literally explain it. That's why Jesus would say heaven is like. Regardless of what he said after the like, that's the metaphor. Heaven is like. He never said heaven is literally this or God is literally that. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like that. I mean, it's kind of like that. Yo, is God like this? I mean, God kind of like that. I mean, I guess God is kind of like a parent. You can call it father. It's not gender. It's not a male or female. But I guess you can. Yeah, it's kind of like a father. It's like that. So to add more to that, right? To add more to that, it was so powerful, this place that they called God's domain, that I literally had to have an escort with me, the archangel. Because I later found out if the archangel wasn't there, the energy was so powerful, I would have just materialized inside of God's domain. This is when we insert certain sort, and the person named Bashar, you might have heard about him. Bashar actually spoke about this in one of his videos. He was saying, and when he said that, it reminded me of this. And this is how I know, at least what he said right there was the truth. He said the reason why more extraterrestrial encounters like one-on-one don't happen is because vibrationally they're so powerful that if they're in your presence, you will lose your own sense of identity because there's so much in light. So you have to have a stronger sense of identity, or you would just merge is the wrong word. You would just materialize into the truth. But if you want to hold your intention, your identity and all of that, you don't want that to happen because you kind of like who you are. So you don't want to just be around people that just remove your identity forcefully. So this archangel was with me the entire experience to remind me. It was a reminder. Its presence was like a reminder of hold it together. Because what you're going to experience next, you think this is just, what I just with the mansion, the island, the planet, and the universe, and all of that and it's still not even that, because it's still much better than all of that. The archangel was telling me like, yo, what you're about to experience, you don't even know. I was in God's domain, and then all of a sudden, I make a little decision. I spoke to a few beings, because one being wanted to go and help some souls. But we had to make a choice, and I said, I would stay. I'm going to stay. I'm going to go back to Earth. We're talking just like this because I've been astral projecting since I was 7 years old. I've been astral projecting since I was 7 years old. So when I talk, like as I'm talking to you like this is how I talk in the astral. I'm that aware. I am that aware. So I'm talking to this one spirit because it was one of my partners, and I was like, all right, your soul, you can go help those souls. I know it's a very big mission. I would love to do it, but let me go back home to Earth and to guide everybody. Because I made that selfless decision, God intervened, the source. I'm about to blow your minds. Everybody, close your eyes right now. Everybody, just close your eyes, right? Just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. What do you see? You feel like you see nothing, but you see something, right? Isn't that like the description of kind of what we call God, right? You can open your eyes now. God is so powerful. And powerful is the wrong word. Because every word to describe God is the wrong word. All of it is the wrong word. There's no human word that can describe it. So I'm going to try my best. It's so much more than what we think. I literally had no... Literally, God, I would say it like this. God basically broke my perception of what reality is when I was in his presence. It literally broke my perception of reality. I had no reference of what I was perceiving. So close your eyes. You just see nothingness, but you see something. That's how it was. No, this wasn't today. This was a few months ago. When I was speaking to God, it felt like I was in the bottom of a well, but the well was the size of earth. It felt like total blackness, but I knew that there was something behind the blackness. It felt like I passed out, but I was still awake to see me pass out. It's mind-boggling. There is no reference, because how the astral realms work and how the spirit realms work is when you go to a place or you see a master or whatever place you go to, whatever realm you go to, if your silver cord is still connected, if your silver cord, which means you're still alive in a vessel, if your silver cord is still connected to a vessel, what's going to happen is the dimension is alive. This reality, the third dimension, fourth dimension, all the dimensions are alive. The dimension is going to conform in such a way that's going to make your subconscious comfortable, at least guide it to some type of comfort. So you may see things that you can kind of feel like, oh, that might be a wall. On Earth, that might be a little structure. So what's going to happen? Like, for example, let's say you go into the Ascended Master realm. You might see meadows of grass, but grass doesn't actually exist there because that's a physical thing. You're seeing grass because you're referencing something for it to make sense in some type of way. But the more you stay in that realm, the more deconstructed it's going to be, and you're not going to see physical things. You're going to see different ways of existing there. Right? If y'all follow along, type 33s in the chat if you're following along, so I don't lose y'all. I gotta make sure I'm with y'all. Y'all with me? Y'all type 33s in the chat if you're following along. So, like, for example, if you go to an Ascended Master realm, because the dimension itself is designed to keep you comfortable, because you have some type of reference of what a world looks like, you're going to see that reference. You might see grass. If you go to Ascended Master Room, you might see grass. You may see hills and bright suns and meadows and wonderful scents and all of that. But that actually is not there. That's just something that's a reference. Well, what happens when something is so abnormal, so abstract, so abundant that you don't even have a point of reference? You just see nothingness. But you know something is there. Are there other physical realities or just Earth? There isn't really physicality at all, but there's places that may feel like it if you come from a place of physicality. So that's what God was like, though. It was like there was absolutely no reference to what I was experiencing, so I was just seeing nothing. But I knew something was there. It was literally like you passed out, but you're still awake. That's what it was like. And I heard God, right? Oh, you heard God. What does God sound like? The best way to describe God, right? So it doesn't have a mouth, therefore it doesn't speak. It doesn't rely on verbal communications, so therefore what you're hearing isn't actually what it actually is saying. And God proved this to me. So when it first spoke, it spoke, and this is when my human brain tried to get in the way. When the source, the actual source, the actual God, yes, the actual thing spoke to me. At first, it didn't speak in English. At first, my brain perceived it speaking in a language that I couldn't understand at first. But that language, the longer it was speaking in the language, it was like God was teaching me the language. I promise you, it's the way I'm describing it doesn't accurately. That's why Jesus and all these people speak in parables and concepts. But I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to give you something here, so y'all can kind of get some type of grasp of what the heck it's like being in the presence of actually God. When it was first speaking, it's not actually sound, because it doesn't use sound to speak. Because our perception, There's no senses in the astral realms. If you don't use ears to hear it, senses don't exist entirely differently. So how you know how a tree exists differently than a human? You know, it literally, by definition, by science, it's as living as you are, births things and all that. You know how a tree exists differently than you, but you know it exists and is living? It's the same way in the astral realm and the spirit realms. You don't exist through your senses. So I would be a fool to say I was hearing God make a sound, because it doesn't have senses to produce sound in the way that we think sound is produced. So what my brain, it's more so what my human brain was, because my human brain was like grasping for air to try to find some type of reference of what I'm seeing, because God is just that abstract. So the human brain was like, or the mind, or the limiter, or the vessel perspective was like, I feel like I'm hearing a sound. And the sound was like in short intervals. Like, this is not how it sounded at all, but when I gotta emphasize the point of short intervals. Like, like short intervals. But it was clearly not that sound, because that sound sounded atrocious. I was hearing like short intervals of sound, almost, and then my brain was like, maybe it's words? But it kept like what I assumed was speaking. And the longer it was speaking, it was like it was training me to figure out what it was saying, because all of a sudden, I was like out of nowhere. I'm hearing the sound, right? And then out of nowhere, I start hearing different languages. Like, it was like speaking every single language at once. Languages we never heard before, languages that was on Earth before, languages from different start. It was speaking English, Hebrew, Chinese, Japanese, Arcturian, Syrian, Pleiadian. It was speaking every language at once. Like, every single language at once. It wasn't like oh, you don't speak English? Let me say it like this. Oh, you don't speak that? No. It was every possible way you could interpret something in a form of understanding through language, I'm going to speak that way. Every language at once. So then I started listening to it, and the longer I tuned in, the longer I kept hearing it, it was, but I'm going to tell y'all what was happening. It's not that God changed how it was speaking to me. No. That's not what happened, y'all. Because remember, in the beginning, it was like what I assumed to be a sound that I couldn't understand. No, what was happening is, from me being in the presence of God and hearing that, God activated my DNA to then interpret what was being said like a translator. So it was essentially bestowing me the ability to translate. Because, like, if you talk to an actual translator, what they're going to say is, well, the best way to say what this person said is this. So literally, God was like bestowing the translation on me. Because remember, it was still the same intervals of sound. It just all of a sudden, I started to kind of understand what it was saying. And then all of a sudden, I started to get some type of reference. Like, oh, that's that language. Oh, that's that language. Oh, that's that language. Oh, that's that language. It was literally teaching me every language at once. Now it makes sense of why Jesus, in the stories, if you actually study the stories of Jesus, not just the ones in the Bible, but across the world, because he traveled the world, Jesus spoke in multiple languages. And I'm like, when that was happening to me, I'm like, that's how Jesus spoke in multiple languages. That's why they spoke in multiple. Because when you're in the presence of God so much, it's going to just kind of feel like it's making a sound, but it's going to turn you into a translator. Because you can't say God knows all, but it doesn't have the ability to speak every language. You can't call yourself a Christ if you don't have the vibration to match everybody else to deliver the truth to them. So that's why they say Jesus was speaking in every language. Whether it was literal or whether it was metaphorical, what I know is from my experience, God turned me into a freaking translator. Because all of a sudden, I figured out what the heck it was talking about. Just by being around it long enough. And guess what? that's when references started to happen in my, because remember, I had no point of reference. Now, the existence of God, there was no accurate explanation of what it looks like. So that on that part, there was no reference at all. It just literally looked like I closed my eyes, I'm just looking at nothing, but I know something is there. And it felt very like giant, like not giant as in like a tall man. Like it felt like existence. Like the best way I can explain it, this is the best way I can explain it, right? There's a game called Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And in the adventure mode, you can look through the scouter when you press a certain button, and it shows you like the aura of this person or like the frequency of this person. It felt like I was just living in the frequency of this being. It was just like, yo, your energy is massive. But the longer I was with it, I started to understand what it was saying. And then finally, when God stabilized my energy, because literally it was activating my DNA. And this was like the very first time I had a one-on-one encounter with God, to my knowledge, in this vessel. I know, obviously, in the soul before incarnation, we all had a conversation with God because we literally was a part of it. But to my knowledge, in this vessel, this was the first time one-on-one God said, yo, come to my crib. To my knowledge. So it was talking to me, and it was explaining certain things. It's a little personal stuff, but it was explaining some things about where I want to go and why I want to do it. And it was like, it was a very deep discussion. A very deep discussion. And essentially, it was just basically like the moral of our conversation was be sure with what you want to do, because I'm always going to say yes. That was the moral of our conversation. That's far more deeper than anybody can ever imagine. The moral of me and God's direct conversation. It was it wasn't like I was talking to a being representing, no, I was talking to God directly. The moral of our conversation was be very careful of what you decide, because I'm always going to say yes. If you want to be the most heinous person on earth, and so it is. If you want to be the most loving person on earth, and so it is. Be very careful. Not even careful. Just know what you decide serves. Know it. Don't believe it. Don't have faith in it. That's why I say I don't believe in God nor have faith in God, for I know in God. Know it. Because God is never going to tell you no. It's always going to tell you no. God is never going to tell you N-O. It's going to tell you K-N-O-W. So I was like, all right. And then after that conversation, that was my validation of, oh, snaps, I really am a Christ. Because based on every story of every Christ, they said, you officially know you're a Christ when you finally meet God. And when it finally happened and my body didn't explode and I came back to my body after the astral projection experience, I was like, oh, snaps, I knew I was a Christ, let's go. And it's the same thing for you. Because remember what the elder said. Remember what the elder said. You don't have to repeat the ceremony. All you have to do is remember it. The fact that I told you it, remember, we're all one. You experienced it as well. So guess what, y'all? By technicality, y'all won. By technicality. Y'all met God, even if you don't remember it, by technicality, because I told you the experience and you had some type of grasp because we were able to explain it. If any of you, type 33s in the chat if you understood just at least 1% of that story. Type 33s in the chat if you understood just 1%. Remember they say the faith of a mustard seed. Type 33s in the chat if you understood just 1% of that story. Because that's all you need. Because remember, the law of divination. And the initiation of something shows the completion of it as well. The fact that you were able to comprehend. Because remember, if I told this story 1,000 years ago, those people during that time would have no freaking reference of what I'm talking about. Let's keep it a bean here, y'all. Let's keep it a buck. Why do you think We are the Aquarius age. Not just because we know cool things and have, sacred geometry behind us and on us. No. It's because our minds can handle the truth and not freaking freak out. We're like, that sounds about right. 1,000 years ago, 500, maybe 100 years ago. If I told this same story, everybody would have been like, if I told this same story like 50 years ago, everybody would have been like, but the fact that y'all even knew a piece of it, let alone all of it, lets me know who y'all are. And also lets you know who you are. So put respect on your own name. Because you ain't stupid. You ain't stupid because you knew even the 1%. Because your elders, your ancestors, nobody could have had any reference of what the heck I was talking about. No matter how spiritual you think they are. Remember, they're the ones that had the prophecy of today's time. Remember, those same elders and ancestors had the prophecies about today's time, the Aquarius age. They were like, oh, y'all think we're spiritual? Wait until the Aquarius age kids come. Wait until they call us the holy ones. We are the literal holy ones in the native tribes. Yeah, so y'all all met God. So what we gonna do is we're gonna conclude with this. I'm gonna give you a meditation that you can all use, right? Something that I use. So I created my own mudra, okay? I work with it hand in hand. I'm laughing because there's a spirit in here that y'all know well. I'm not even gonna say his name. I've said it before, but right now, for intents and purposes, I'm not gonna say his name. I don't need y'all to get attached to the name. I don't need y'all to like the mudra because of this spirit that was with me, that created it with me. But it's a very, very powerful spirit or being that many people worshipped at one point in time. That being assisted me in the creation of it. It didn't tell me to do it didn't tell me to do it. It just put me on the path. It just said, hey, create one. So it put me on the path. So this is the mudra, right? I called for truth and I'm here. He works in mysterious ways. Hey, is it so mysterious? If you figured it out, now all I would do is transmute the word mysterious into simple. God is very simple. So I made a mudra. So you know how I say 33s and stuff like that, right? So we put it together. And symbolically, so I don't usually tell people this, but because now we're all Christ, we all recognize it and we all know it, I'm going to tell you that I'm only going to say it one time. And don't repeat it to people. Yes, it's 33s, but what is 3 times 3? And the symbology of that is so powerful, even numerically. There's only, the limit of numbers is only 9 because it resets. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In spirituality, they say the numbers start within 3. So if people like Thoth and certain teachers of the mysteries, they would say 0, 1, and 2 don't actually exist. Those aren't actually real symbols. That's what the people of the mysteries would say. They would say 0, 1, and 2 don't exist. It starts at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we know that 9 is the limit. That's why they call 9 a completion number. Because what is 10? 10 is a reset. It's 1 again and then 0. So it's the reusing of the same numbers. It's the reusing of the same numbers. There is no number after 9. Now, see now? And this is not even spiritual. I can just give you a video of a scientist and a physicist and astrologist talking about numbers, and there's actually different ways of counting. It isn't just the same ways we count. Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about this as well. He was, I don't know if y'all seen the video, but he was actually teaching somebody other forms of counting using certain intervals, because he was even talking about, there's only 9 numbers. And we just keep reusing the same 9 numbers. There's no number after 9. Because if you literally look at it, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What is 10 literally? It's the reuse of the number 1 and the reuse of the number 0 just together. That's why symbolically they call 9 the number of completion. What is 3 times 3? Now you're following along, right? So this is my mudra. Mudra is the positioning of your hands. So it's the 3s together, right? And then your hands is like this. There's actually a mudra within this mudra though. So your hands, it will be like this, like your pinkies like this, like representing infinity. So pinkies together, pinky and thumb together. Make sure the points of the pinky and the fingers together, like this. Then this, so this is the first one, right? So it's like God, Christ consciousness, oneness for eternity. Because the pinky and the thumb, when you hold it like this, doesn't it look just like an infinity sign for eternity, right? But then it's a mudra within the mudra. Because if you shift the pinky and the thumb to this, what does that kind of look like? A 9. So this is, you put the mudra like this, you have the infinity, and you'll just shift the thumbs down like that, and now if you look down, it looks like you have 9s because it is. So you're literally invoking the frequency of completion. That mudra is extremely powerful. That's what I utilize in my meditations, the mudra. Now, if you visualize light coming from your hands, it's as simple as if you use your phone and you put a flashlight on, and you put the flashlight right under your hand. I'm gonna do it like this. So we have the phone, right? So you have the flashlight, right? All you would do is literally do this. You'll put the flashlight under your hand, and you'll just constantly look at it. Put it through your fingertips. Doesn't it look like there's light from my hands, right? Doesn't it look like there's light from my hands, right? You will literally visualize this. You will bring an actual visualization like this. Then you'll close your eyes, and you hold that actual visualization, so you don't even need the light from the flashlight. Because now you have a reference. Because how you visualize better is having a reference. So now you did that, now you have a reference. So when you have your mudra, now when I say visualize light from your hands, you quite literally looked at what it kind of looks like to have light coming from your hands. Then you can do that for yourself through your mind's eye, energetically. So anybody that turns on their first eye, they will see, yo, they actually have light coming from their hands. How did they do that? But now it's because you have a reference. So you visualize light coming from your hands, and you can visualize like a beam of light, right? And you can send that beam into your entire body. You can do certain energy centers, send it to your throat, send it to your third eye. You can do wherever you want to do, right? But all you got to do first is make sure light is coming from your hands. You can utilize any mudra. This isn't like the greatest mudra of all time. Oh, because I made it. No, there's a plethora of them to use. I was just tasked to creating my own. So after you do that, meditation. You can breathe in for 3 seconds, hold your breath for 3 seconds, and exhale for 3 seconds. That's one. And I'm gonna demonstrate it for you. So like breathe in for 3 seconds, hold your breath for 3 seconds, and then you can do it for 7 seconds. So you breathe in for 7 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, exhale for 7 seconds, right? So breathe in for 7 seconds. So that's 7 seconds. Then you can raise it up to 14, 14, 14. Then you can raise it up to 33. Hold your breath for 3 seconds and exhale for 3 seconds. That's what I use. If you want to do a quick meditation, inhale for 3 seconds, right? And how you do it, inhale for 33 seconds. So how you would do that, and like 30, that's a long time. You got to start practicing breathing with your diaphragm. Allow your stomach to protrude out and allow your exhale to sink it in. Allow your stomach to protrude out on your inhales and allow the exhale to sink the stomach in. So, okay? And you will have to breathe in through your nose very lightly. So it's always best to get any excess energy out. That's why you would sometimes see me when I start doing my meditations in the beginning, I will just breathe all the air out. So I can start from as zero as possible. And then I will be, I'm gonna put my mouth next to the microphone so you can hear how light I'm breathing, okay? So as the breath is like, your mouth, the hole in your mouth should be very tight and small. Like your lips should be like, you see that how small that area of that is taking in air is? It's not like, because when you do that, you take too much air in. But you're actually going to be breathing through your nose. And the reason why I showed it through your mouth, so you can get some type of reference. Remember the reference. So you're going to kind of mimic that with your nose. So breathe in very lightly. And when you're using your diaphragm, you got to make sure your back is straight. Because when your posture is correct. Your shoulders, like back here, posture is correct. Because if your posture is not correct, you're not going to be accessing your diaphragm like you're supposed to. Oh, yes, she said she was able to do it. Yay! I love to see it. But you want to make sure your posture is always correct because that's how you get access to your diaphragm. If you're hunched over, you can't breathe with your stomach. You got to be back straight, shoulders positioned in the proper way for comfortability. Don't just, do all of this and just because you're trying to make your back straight. Get comfortable, but just don't be slouched over. And you breathe in through your nose. Let it all out. I'm actually breathing. It doesn't look like I am, but I actually am. And I'm gonna make a noise with my throat so you can kind of hear how slow I'm breathing. I'm gonna get to the mic so you can kind of hear, okay? I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's very slow. I was trying to make a diagram with my hands so you can kind of see visually, just in case you couldn't hear it. You can breathe. That was a great relief. You can breathe. Almost got lightheaded. That was so cool. Anyways, dang, I kind of feel like, good gracious. But they all just see me just freaking evolve live on camera. But if you breathe in very, very long and you start breathing diaphragmatically, it's wonderful, just like that. It almost caught me off guard. I'm like, dang, I feel much better from that deep breath. But that's how you properly breathe. Then you can do box breathing. Box breathing is breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. These are all meditation tips, okay? All right, so now I'm just going to remind everybody, you can DM me 33 and I'll give you a free 3-day course if you don't already have it. The 3-day course quite literally is a structured way in becoming a Christ in 3 days. And by the end of the course, you're going to start saying, I don't know a lot more, because you don't find God until you start saying, I don't know, because there isn't any reference. That's when you know you're dealing with God, when you're like, bro, this is too much. I don't even know what's going on. I remember I had someone take the course and he was like, yo, so much, my dreams is, lucid and all of this is happening. And what do I do with this? I don't know what's going on. I said, that's God. trust, transmute that trust into knowingness, hold this vibration, and so much more is going to happen in your life. You know who you are. And remember, try your absolute best to not describe the world that you're seeing. Just look at things. Don't call me black. Don't call me native. Don't say this is hair. Don't call this sacred geometry. Don't call this clothes. Don't call this when I'm sitting on a couch. Don't call this a wall. Don't stop describing. Just look at it. Don't say what is it. Just look at things for what they are. Just look at it. Stop describing. After you stop describing these things, then, and the reason why the 3-day course is important for you to have, because it tells you specific things to say in regards to, you know, ownership, miracles, and all this stuff. Because by the end of the 3-day course, everybody is going to be able to be a miracle worker as well. By the end of today's class, everybody's going to be able to do miracles. But I'm not going to bombard you with too much. Just start off with not describing the world, because day one, you know, as you see, there were some people that are still on day one, because it is that much unlearning. It's an undoing process. You're literally seeing as God sees. God doesn't call a couch a couch. It doesn't use descriptions. It doesn't even see the couch, because the world the couch is in, the realm the couch is in, doesn't even exist. So it doesn't even perceive it at all. So that's why it's best to not describe anything, so you can at least on some level get to that consciousness. Exactly. Divinity is very simple. That's why I always tell people, you know, transmute saying that God works in mysterious ways, because God is very simple. It's not mysterious. It's just we're looking at it wrong. Have you ever thought to say, maybe I'm not looking at it in the way I'm supposed to be looking at it? Because you can't say God is infinite and then feel like you can't see God through a gum wrapper. If God is truly infinite, that means I can get a gum wrapper and get the secrets of the universe. I can look at a trash can and find God, if God is truly infinite. And when we start really putting respect on God's name, when we really put respect on the source's name, then there isn't a moment where God isn't around you. God, I can talk to this lock, and God would be speaking to me, because God is actually infinite. If you look up the definition of infinite, it means any possible way existence is possible. Any possible way you see something, that means God is there too. That's what infinite. That's what omnipresent. That's where everywhere but nowhere at once means. It's like, it means it's truly everywhere. And when we start destructing, exactly, when we start destructing how religion has taught us, because it's not our fault, and it's not even religion's fault, because they just interpreted it differently. It's no one is to blame. But what we now found out through the truth is, oh, if God is really everywhere, that means I can play this guitar strum and find God. I can just look at the guitar and God would be speaking to me. What do y'all think the burning bush story is about? The point of the burning bush story is quite literally God can talk to you in any way. God literally was a bush. A bush. That's why I say don't take these stories literally. Look at it metaphorically for what it actually is. What it actually is teaching us is God has the capability to talk through anything. So put respect on the source's name. That's the point. So, remember, lose descriptions. Stop calling things, and just look at them for what they are. Because I promise you, how most people are perceiving me is not actually how I am. Until you remove the descriptions. Until you stop calling me the Christ. I only say it to get the point across. And then it's going to get to a point where everybody is a Christ, so we don't have to. It's like the same way of saying I'm human and you're human. It's going to get to that point. We don't have to always announce that we're human. Once everybody recognizes it, then okay, cool. We could just look at each other for as we are. Until we remove descriptions completely, how you see me is not how I actually am. And how I see you isn't how you actually are. Until I say and I decide, hey, I'm going to see you as God sees you. I'm not going to put no words to it. I'm not going to put no descriptions to it. I'm going to just see you as God sees you. And whatever comes up, and that's how God guides me to see. And we know it's going to be with love. It's never going to be with hate. It's never going to be with negativity. Because when we pray to God, we don't... And this is how I prove that to people. When you pray to God, you don't feel immense fear. You don't feel like somebody's about to off you right now. You don't feel like a sniper has a laser to your head when you pray to God. So treat that same experience with care and carry that experience to every person you interact with. The same feeling and vibration you have when you talk to God, carry that vibration and experience and feeling to every single person you meet. And this is like a profound, and this is all in the conclusion. Because I remember when I was speaking with Yeshua one day, Yeshua was talking to me and was like, and I'm paraphrasing ever so slightly, but it was in the nature of Nadiie, and Yeshua, A.K.A. Jesus. It was telling me, because it's not a man or woman, because it evolved past the flesh. But this being was telling me, if I was to incarnate again and take gender on and take a body on in your time, I wouldn't be dressed in robes and how I dressed back then, because that's exactly that. That's how we dressed back then. I would be wearing Jordans. I would be wearing the same clothes you were wearing now. And I didn't get why it told me that, because that's usually what masters do. They'll just tell you some obscure sentences, and then they'll just leave and be like, yo, chew on that. And then, like, a few days later, I finally got what he was saying. Or it was saying. It was saying, essentially, treat everybody with respect and love, because you don't know who could be the Christ. Because in today's time, it will be wearing the same clothes as every normal person. So treat everybody with respect. Treat everybody with love, because you don't know who you're talking to. Literally, you don't know who you're talking to. That's why it's important. So, because today was so very powerful, this class was so powerful, I'm going to use my native prayer in Sikh-Sika. Sikh-Sika translates to Blackfoot, because I'm of the Blackfoot tribe, a medicine man. So in true native fashion, I'll say a prayer in our native tongue. But before we do, if y'all want to share how today's class went, and how the things, anything y'all want to share, y'all can. You can type it in the comments. I'm happy to read it or whatnot. How was today's class? This is my question to all of you. How'd y'all feel about today's class? It's very, very interesting. and then after we've shared, because through sharing is ownership. Through sharing is ownership. After we shared, after we exchanged our information, our frequencies, then I'll conclude with our native prayer, just like the elders taught me. So yes, so my question to y'all is, how you feel about today's class? You can type it in the comments. I will wait. I'll give a moment of silence for y'all to type how you feel about today's class, and then we'll proceed with our native divine statement. So we got, I definitely want to get more of these lessons, very eye-opening, and you are very good with speech. Oh, we're very grateful. A fun fact, when I was a little baby, I used to stutter a lot. I used to stutter so freaking much. So it's actually just so wonderful that I finally can form a sentence. I feel wonderful, and I feel blessed to love everything. Oh, most definitely. We're very, very grateful. I used to stutter so bad. I just thought about this. That just brought back a core memory. You know, the core memories. It brought back a core memory of when I was a child. This is the importance of good teachers. Because why do I remember this? I was sitting at a desk in the hallway, and the teacher was having me, it was like say like letters and like words very slowly, and just say them. The, at, apple, this. And then bring them all together in like a sentence. The apple, like, that's the importance of good teachers. It's a core memory. When I said that, I just remember that day in the hallway. I was probably like, it was within first to third grade, within there. It definitely wasn't fourth grade. It might have been fourth grade. I would just say within first to fourth grade. It was in that time frame. But yeah. I couldn't tell at all how wonderful you blossom. Oh, yes, most definitely. All right, everybody. So now, in true native fashion, we are going to use our native prayer. But let me see if I still got this. Stay with me now. Where is that at? Oh, there it is. I got this book of secrets. People was like, I got so many powerful secrets in here, but they said when somebody seen this, I had this because before I was teaching in technology, I and I still do. I taught in physicality because I didn't even really see the value of like technology. Like a person named Jeff, he convinced me to take this to technology. So he will always forever have my good praises, and I will always praise his name because he convinced me to take this. And I teach on like TikTok and stuff like 8 months, on YouTube and stuff for 8 months, and then it blew up after 8 months. But I would have ceremonies like every week. And like every week and every other week, and then I know for sure, at least like twice a month, I will invite everybody in my house because that's how Yeshua did it. It could invite everybody in the home and hold a ceremony. Talk about God, have everybody share their experiences. I would actually do that. I would have tons of people in my house, and one of the experiences and ceremonies was so powerful. He was like, "Nadiie, you gotta take this to technology, bro. Like this is just too powerful." Because he kind of felt like, I don't know if it was like survivor's remorse or something. He was like, "Yo, this is just." I don't feel like we should just be having this. I feel like you should just give this to everybody. And it took me a few, maybe like a month or two before I actually caved in and said, fine, let me just do it. Let me take it. And then I'm so grateful because I get to talk to all you wonderful people. So thank you again, Jeff Miller. Man, when Jeff transcends and goes to the afterlife, he gonna be like, dang, my wings hella long. Who been praying for me? I got you, Jeff. But, we're going to use one of the divine statements. I'm trying to see which one I want to use. I can do the full thing. All right. I was looking at a few things because there was something else that was written in there that I don't even remember doing. It's like a page is morphed, like the Akashic Records. I was like, when did I do that? But I'm gonna meditate on that one later because my mind's kind of blown. But this is and as a medicine man, it's my duty to explain to you what the theme of this prayer is in our native tongue, so y'all can kind of grasp what's going on. Apistasuki means creator. So basically this prayer that I'm bringing forth is a conversation. See it like as a conversation directly to God. And it's like a conversation of gratitude. We're bringing gratitude for our families, our grandparents, ourselves. We're bringing gratitude for like trees, any being that exists, any being that doesn't exist, inanimate objects, animate objects. It's like assist us with being as you are, and the you is the creator. So that's what this native prayer is. So y'all can get some type of grasp of what's going on. And I don't really like to translate too much. Like I could, but I don't want us to get hung up on the words. The best part of me saying certain prayers and divine statements in my language is y'all can see the vibration. Because your conscious mind may not know what the words are, but you would feel the vibration, and that's what matters. Because when you go into these spirit realms, or you start getting in conversation with spirits, you're never going to know their language. They speak through vibration and sound. So you have to start picking up on how can I figure. Like for example, if a Chinese person come at you, you don't need to know what they're saying. If they coming at you like, you know that they're yelling at you, and you know they're probably not very happy right now. You don't know what they're saying, but you don't got to the vibration, right? But if someone says, no, like the vibration of it is like, okay, you're a little more welcoming. I don't know what you're saying, but I feel like that I'm able to be around you and coexist with you. So the understanding vibration of our words is very important. So it's important for everybody to tune in. You can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, however makes you comfortable to tune in. Just really pay attention to vibrationally what's going on. Because one thing I like to do is I like to disguise my light codes with language. So when you hear it, I'm saying, like, for example, A.K.A is creator, Ispamokana means help us, and all of that. I'm saying all of these words, but there's actually a light code within it. Yeah, so I learned that from a particular master to be very, very potent and have intention. And how you do that is you know when you've done the first day of the 3-day course. So if you DM me 33 and I'll give you the 3-day course, and you see the first day, like specifically description, everything. When you've done the first day enough, you find a way to use words in a way that no one really used words before. You can literally like insert a light code within the word. Like, for example, the. I can say the to you, and there's a light code within that word. And it's different than if a teacher just said the, like in school. Like if the English teacher said the word the in school, it's much different than if I put the intention behind it and put the light code inside the word the. So when I said it, I actually visualized light coming into you. It's a whole process, but it's important for everybody to tune in. So right now, everybody take a deep breath on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold for as long as you like. Exhale whenever you want to. Just tune in and listen to vibrationally what we're saying, and you can really understand what this native prayer is about. Ayo A.K.A. Ispamokinan. Na kai sisinan. Na keiki mutsitsinan. Na kokamoto sinan. Nina. Nikista. Nachsix. Kishum. Kokomikishum. Spokshe. Mischiks. Ki. Okich. Amoksoki. Niksokoex. Ayo A.K.A. Niksixinitsip. Niksixinitsip means we are very grateful. Thank you. We love you all. The 2 takeaways is remember the very beginning of what we said. Ayo A.K.A. That means O Creator. And the very last thing we said is Niksixinitsip, which means yes, we are very grateful. Thank you. We love you all. Peace.